All right. Welcome to my Shadow Short. My name is Peter Rezicek from ShadowTrader.net and the Weekly Options Room. And title of this video is TA Before Tariffs for two reasons. One, because as you can see, I am recording this ahead of the announcement. I'm recording this actually just after noontime, and the announcement is not going to come until about 4 p.m. So we're still a little under 4 hours away from that announcement. But also, secondly, in the bigger picture, I always try to teach people not to trade ahead of fundamentals, not to be like, if this, then that, or I think that, the reaction to the tariffs are going to be this, or I think they're going to be that, and be ahead of it. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially in this market. I think if you've been watching closely over the last couple of weeks or so, you've seen a lot of very violent reversals in either direction that didn't make a whole lot of technical sense, at least on an intraday basis. And so that brings us to where we are now. And it seems to me that ahead of the tariffs, the market is feeling pretty bullish, and for a couple of reasons. We're going to just keep it very objective, very TA here. This is the S&P cash market, which is, of course, the most important, I think, area to do your TA on. All the broad market TA, I think, has to start from here. And notice that we have these two areas here circled, and the reason being is this is called an incremental low, meaning that this low only went a little bit lower. So you can see a solid down move here, counter move reaction, but then when you start the next move, how low do you go? Not very, meaning not very in relation to this low. So that is noteworthy. And since then, we have now rallied back to retest the 8 EMA. And if you recall from my video back here, this is where I did a video, might have been one of the weekend editions, saying I'm bullish now. And as I've been documenting, I talk about this on Twitter and other places, this worked for a whole day and a half, and market fell down and then came back to the 8. And then when we lost the 8, it was time to get bearish again. And that worked for a day and a half. And now we're kind of bullish again on the short term into this 8. And so remember, you've got a lot of balance here, and it was hard to resolve the 8 the first time, so we'll see if it's easier this time. So I'm using basically just a couple of simple things for my TA going forward. When this comes out, as far as how I'm going to trade tomorrow, I feel that any activity above the 8 has got to be bullish, but more importantly, we've got a downtrend line established here because we have 2 points. So we've got our minimum here to establish the downtrend. And we also know that this pattern is kind of H pattern-ish. H means that it's like a lowercase letter h, and that generally means hell for shorts. And hell for shorts means that they all get short down here on the break here, thinking it's got to go lower, and it doesn't. And then it comes right back into range, and you get a rally to the upside. And you're right at that 8. So mainly above the 8 and above the trend line is going to be my key area. Best case scenario for trading is always rejection and come back. So reject and come back. And you're already seeing a little bit of that rejection right now, because the first test of the 8 EMA here on the daily on an intraday basis was a perfect short. If you look at this chart here, it was a perfect short literally. This test right here earlier in the day, about an hour ago or so, was literally right to that 8. And how deep was the pullback? Not very. Right to the 21 on the 5. And where are you now? You're retesting again. So this would lead me to believe that after I finish this video, the market has chance to move higher in the afternoon. The question is, where will it be in relation to that trend line at the end of the day? And then, of course, how is the market going to react at that line? Will we get above it? And it's noteworthy also to mention that the 21 is sitting right on the line. So that is probably going to be some strong resistance at first, the first time we get there, depending on, we'll see how these futures act at the end. If the market is flat and it starts to rally tomorrow, like let's say the reaction to the tariffs is just relatively muted, and we open right about here tomorrow, that's pretty much a long setup as well, right? Because that tells you that, you're probably going to move to this 21. And obviously any pullback and then retest of the 8 again is definitely taking to the 21. And again, I always say this pretty much in a lot of videos where I'm talking about looking forward in the TA, that always the easiest setup is to move away from a level and then retest it, because now you have the confidence that that level is probably going to get broken. The odds of that level breaking after already reacting at it, failing that reaction and getting buyers right back to that level, is, increases the odds greatly you're going to pass through that area. So just something to keep in mind, all right? That's basically it. Keep it simple out there. Keep your TA simple, and most importantly, again, that's why this video is called TA Before Tariffs. Don't trade without the TA. Don't just trade on the news. Don't trade on what you think the market's going to do. Put your TA first, and you'll be a much better trader for it. Hey, this is Peter from ShadowTrader.net, and I just wanted to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you'd like to trade live with me every day in my weekly options advisory, then check out the link in the description below. I wish you good trading, and I'll see you in the room.